Right now, on the same planet, two very different realities exist. In one part of the world, many people have their basic needs covered and focus on wants. Better phones, vacations, career growth, or the next big purchase. In the other, hundreds of millions are still fighting every day for food, safety, education, and basic dignity. These are supposed to be universal human rights, not privileges for the lucky few. How did we even get here? After World War II, which killed an estimated 70 to 85 million people, the world saw what happens when governments treat humans as disposable. The international community responded by creating the United Nations. On December 10, 1948, the UN General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It's a document with 30 articles that set a global standard for the fundamental rights every person should have, simply because they are human. It wasn't just a reaction to the war. It was meant to prevent future atrocities. Let's go through some of the most important ones. Article 26 gives everyone the right to education. It should be free, at least in the elementary stages, and directed toward the full development of the human personality. Yet today, according to UNESCO's latest 2026 data, 273 million children and young people are still out of school, and that number has been rising for 7 straight years. Articles 18 and 19 protect freedom of thought, conscience, religion, and expression. You have the right to believe what you want and to express your opinions without unjust interference. In practice, according to the Committee to Protect Journalists, more than 300 journalists were imprisoned worldwide at the end of 2025 for doing their work. Article 23 guarantees the right to work. This includes free choice of employment, just and favorable conditions, equal pay for equal work, and protection against unemployment. Article 24 states that everyone has the right to rest and leisure, including reasonable limitation of working hours and periodic holidays with pay. Article 25 is one of the most far-reaching. It gives everyone the right to a standard of living adequate for health and well-being, including food, clothing, housing, medical care, and necessary social services. So, 77 years later, where do we actually stand? Nearly 138 million children are still engaged in child labor. Around 847 million people lived in extreme poverty as of 2024. Approximately 673 million people experienced hunger in 2024. These numbers reveal a stark divide. While some parts of the world move forward, large populations remain trapped in conditions that the Universal Declaration promised to end. It's not all bad news. There has been real progress over the decades. Child labor has dropped significantly since the year 2000. Extreme poverty rates have fallen dramatically in the long term thanks to economic growth in many countries. Billions more people now have access to basic education and health care than in 1948. Many countries have improved laws, reduced discrimination, and expanded social protections. The Declaration has influenced constitutions, courts, and international agreements worldwide. But the gaps remain huge. Access to these rights still depends heavily on where you are born, your country's stability, governance quality, and economic opportunities. Conflicts, climate change, and inequality continue to push millions backward. The Declaration was never meant to be magically enforced overnight. It was a moral compass and a legal benchmark. The real test is whether governments, institutions, and societies are willing to turn those words into action. 77 years after it was written, the core question is still the same. How do we move from rights written on paper to rights genuinely protected for every human being? Progress is possible, but it requires stronger accountability, better policies, and global cooperation. Which of these rights do you think is most important in today's world? Do you believe we are making real progress on human rights, or is it moving too slowly?